So yeah, welcome back to another video. I think you kind of get the idea about where this one is going. But yeah, obviously this worldwide pandemic is going to take effect on everyone in different ways. But as this channel is dedicated to my journey in motorsport, I wanted to sort of briefly just mention what my thoughts are about my racing season going forward, and obviously just offering as much support to everyone going through this as possible. Yeah, we'll get onto that. But yeah, I think the main thing for motorsport fans in the UK, we'll start with that, is that all motorsport in the UK has been cancelled until at least the end of April. Now, my first race was due to be the end of May. Yeah, it was the end of May. And then my second race was supposed to be the end of June. So I look at that and I'm thinking, you look at the Motorsport UK's official statement and you think, okay, it's probably not going to affect you really then, Alex, is it? Well, I think when you look more global with this, it's unlikely that motorsport is going to start happening in the UK anytime soon. I think that it's more realistic that we'll start racing in June, maybe at the earliest, but probably more likely July or August. And of course that does take an effect on my planned season, but I realise it's a much bigger issue than my motorsport season. I'm just sort of speaking really about what's happening with this channel and why there may not be so many videos over the next couple of months. I think it's unlikely we'll start racing until probably June, July time, and therefore a couple of my events that I expected to race in will be cancelled. We'll get back to motorsport in a minute, but I think the most important thing during this time is obviously looking after yourself and looking after the people around you, because of course this is a big worry. It's not just the flu like some people seem to think it is. It's obviously very worrying, and of course a lot of people will be affected by this. Whether you don't personally have it, you probably will still be affected by this, whether that's by, sadly, maybe people losing their jobs. I would like to pass on my thoughts to everyone around the world who is going to be affected by this. Yeah, it's very, very worrying, and I just want to say to everyone, just stay safe and do whatever you can within yourself to make sure that you get around this as best as possible. So obviously most of us are going to end up staying at home for a lot. And so yeah, so that's good obviously in terms of not catching it and also not passing it on if you do have it. So yeah, it makes sense. I look at my racing and also my job. My job is in Formula 1. Basically, you probably know by now, Australia was possibly going to go ahead, and then they would obviously back and forth and so on, and it eventually didn't go ahead, which obviously was the right call. But then being very proactive after that, Formula 1 has gone ahead and I think cancelled the Monaco Grand Prix, and then the rest of them was postponed. Who knows what's actually going to be the calendar at this point, because who knows how long this is actually going to go on for. But yeah, it affects my job as well as me going racing myself, even though racing in terms of going racing myself isn't at the forefront of my mind. Obviously in terms of my job, that's at the forefront of my mind. I mean, Formula 1 is like my main thing. I do have a couple other freelance things on the side which have understandably just gone in the meantime. So that leaves just Formula 1 basically in terms of the work I've got scheduled down for this year. So obviously that's a bit of a worry, but I realise a lot of people have either lost their job or having to stay at home, and I realise it could be worse. If we try and get it, back to my racing, because I know you don't want to click onto a YouTube video and hear another 5 minutes or 10 minutes of just sad talking. We'll go back to my racing season just for a little bit here, because whilst of course it isn't the forefront of my mind, I still am thinking about it. So the first couple of races will probably be cancelled. Then I think after that we'll probably be looking at maybe 6 or 8 races. I mean, I had down 8 to 10 races, so if 2 of them are cancelled, that makes 6 to 8 races. Good maths. But yeah, I think it's understandably likely that not all of these events are going to go ahead, and it's probably unlikely that the events that were supposed to be in March, April, May, it's unlikely they're going to be postponed. It's probably more likely they'll just be cancelled and not run at all. So that's obviously, it's going to be affecting a lot of people, and of course, motorsport is very expensive. From the very bottom of the ladder where I'm at right now all the way to the top, very, very expensive, lots of money. People are going to be struggling because of course they're not getting as much income in, and therefore that's going to have a knock-on effect to going racing. I mean, yeah, as I said, I've lost some freelance work. I've lost all but one of my sponsors for this year. It's going to be tough, I realise that, but I said to myself at the start of this year that 2020 was going to be a great year. Maybe didn't have such a great start. Or at least this dipping point in March, April time. But I'm determined to get this back on track and, personally get out there and do some racing this year and, hopefully prove myself loyal to the sponsor that did stick with me. And yeah, that would be absolutely fantastic if we can just get out and do some racing. But yeah, we've got to obviously see what happens, and of course the most important thing is everyone's safety, and that's what everyone's is understandably worried about right now. So I was going to be releasing a calendar about what I was going to be doing this year. Understandably now that wouldn't make any sense to upload because it would be irrelevant as soon as I uploaded it. So yeah, I had plans to create that video, but that's not going to go ahead until we have a bit more of a better understanding at least about what's going to happen this year. So that'll come soon, but a video I can make is about the championships I'm thinking about racing in. Because of this, I've lost a couple of the job opportunities I had with some of the motor clubs that I was going to race with. I was going to do video work with them, and that was going to help me get racing with them. So obviously, understandably, once again, that's been cancelled for now, at least, or at least postponed, I suppose I could say. Who knows when we get racing once again, whether that could be something that is more plausible, we'll see. But yeah, my thoughts about what racing calendar was going to be, or the racing clubs I was going to be racing with maybe 2 months ago, is very different to what I'm thinking about right now, because I might have to sort of pick and choose a bit more. Because if we go back to my work, obviously in Formula 1, I think obviously Monaco's been cancelled, Australia we got there and then it was cancelled. I didn't actually go to the races, and just in just in England, but nonetheless there are still some events there that will most likely be put into the summer break. I mean, I have no idea, but I'm just speculating like the rest of us Formula 1 fans. You're looking at this as a Formula 1 fan. They've moved the summer break to now for the shutdown, and that means inevitably I think events are going to go into that gap in August, and also it means I assume we'll probably run later as well. Once again, this is nothing official, this is just me speculating. I want there to be as many races in Formula 1 as possible, because of course that's what puts food on my table, and allows me to go racing at the same time. So yeah, I want there to be as many races as possible, but the knock-on effect is that it's going to be a very congested calendar. Nearly knocked my phone off. A very congested calendar with Formula 1 and also wanting to go racing myself. So I'm going to have to work around that one as it comes. As all the governments are saying, it's a very fluid situation, and once we get to that point, we'll see. But with the postponement of F1 events, of course, I need that work to go racing. So I'll have to work around this, and yeah, we'll see, but it's going to be a bit of a cluster and a bit of a reactionary issue once everything is kind of on the coming down on the other side. Well, fingers crossed that's not too long away. Then I'll have to be figuring out when I'm doing my trailer license, for example, because that's going to be postponed further now. And then also in terms of when I'm going testing, and then when am I going racing, and then with Formula 1, it's going to be a very, very congested weekend schedule. As if it wasn't going to be congested enough, I think I only had about maybe 10 weekends free until the end of the year, and that was before all of these postponements. So yeah, I realise it could be a lot worse, don't get me wrong. I'm very thankful that Formula 1 has still given me the opportunity to go in and do some work, and I realise it could be a lot worse. So my thoughts are with people that are struggling now financially because of this, and I realise it's very lucky to still be just thinking about racing, because of course a lot of people might be going through a similar thing and just racing is not going to be even an option for them in 2020 now because of this. So I realise I'm in a slightly different situation, and I'm very thankful that I'm very thankful to be in this situation. But my thoughts are going out to everyone who's affected by this. It's going to be tough for everyone, of course, some more than others, and yeah, whether I can actually go racing or not at all in 2020 is still not 100% confirmed, of course, because I need the finances to go racing, but we'll see. As I said earlier on in this video, I'm going to do all I can to get racing this year. This was my dream this year, to sort of go into this and be a bit more prominent within the racing scene rather than just doing one race. It was my dream this year to go out there and just prove to myself that I could kind of do it. So I'm going to put everything out there to try and make sure it's a possible thing. But yeah, you don't want to hear too much down stuff, I know, but I guess one nice little positive to end on is I found this the other day. I'll put a close up on the screen. This is a model I actually had as a kid, and it's very weird that it's sort of come back to now mean something a lot more. So if you don't know, it's a Honda Civic Type R EP3, except from the colour, nearly identical to the car now that I've got as a race car. So that's strange, isn't it? I mean, I know I had a few cars as a kid, but to have that in pretty much identical spec, except the colour, so the race car I have now is a bit weird, but quite cool at the same time. Now, I definitely didn't buy the car because of this. But obviously I was a fan of this car as a kid because I got this model. Anyway, hopefully that's a slightly nicer note to end this video on. But I don't think I've forgotten anything, sorry. Probably everything, I don't know. But yeah, I just want to say once again, I know I've said it already in this video, please stay safe, please look after the people around you, and obviously take all the precautions necessary to get through this. And once again, I've said it quite a few times already, but my thoughts are with everyone affected by this. I mean, I know I am affected by this inherently, but I realise it could be a lot worse, and obviously my thoughts are going out to people that are really struggling because of this. I don't know what a kid who's just left university can do, but I just wish I could do something. But yeah. Hopefully we'll get onto a bit of a lighter note in future videos, but I just wanted to make the point. I'm not just skirting over this issue like it's nothing. It's going to affect me, and it's going to affect a lot of people, and I wanted to sort of speak about it. But I do want to get back to some more sort of fun videos soon. It's not going to be every video where I'm sitting in a wood and dropping my phone on the floor. Yeah. My thoughts are, next couple of weeks, speak through the racing series I want to race in, and also I want to sort of show you what I'm going to be doing with iRacing and simulators over the next couple of weeks, because obviously this is all going to give us a little bit more free time. So I'm going to be getting back into iRacing properly. I got all the proper equipment around Christmas time, but I haven't really been able to put it into good use because work's been kind of flat out, and now work's probably not going to be quite as flat out, so more time in the simulator and iRacing for me. Yeah, it's hard to know where to end this one, but stay safe, as a good friend from work, Don, would say. And yeah, speak soon. Thank you.